It may be a cliché, but the age-old adage that the devil finds work for an idle hand has a large dose of truism to it. It is therefore quite understandable why the prevalence of idleness in the barracks, especially among the youth, has been a source of grave concern over the years to successive leaderships of the Nigerian Army. The disturbing phenomenon became even more worrisome with the ever-burgeoning numbers of jobless youths roaming around in Nigerian Army Barracks who are otherwise employable and highly energetic. The growing concern about the challenges posed by these members of Army Barracks communities stem from the fact that unemployed youths have been found to be responsible for the rising wave of crime and sundry misdemeanors recorded in many Army Barracks communities in recent years. Apart from the undesirable negative effects of unemployment, trends have also revealed that most bitter inter-family squabbles in the barracks are also usually triggered by the antics of some of the unemployed wives and dependents of some officers and soldiers who, with so much idle time at their disposal, have developed the penchant for mischief that threatens harmonious relationships and peaceful coexistence among members of Army Barracks communities. Convinced that lack of empowerment is largely responsible for the high prevalence of unemployment and the attendant idleness among youths and the wives of service personnel in various barracks communities of the Nigerian Army, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, came up with a design to keep such barracks residents engaged in order to curb the ills that stem from the idleness of such members of the barracks community of the Nigerian Army. The scheme, dubbed Chief of Army Staff Barracks Investment Initiative Program (BIIP), was inaugurated in October 2015, barely 3 months after General Buratai assumed office as Chief of Army Staff, with the added objective of improving the welfare of troops' families and by extension the welfare of the troops too. The primary target publics of the BIIP, who are also sometimes referred to as subscribers or contributors, are women, especially the wives and female children of service personnel, as well as youths, both male and female, who live in Army Barracks as unemployed residents but are actually employable. Serving officers and soldiers are also encouraged to participate in the program, especially when the demands of doing so will not conflict with the discharge of their statutory duties. Besides keeping the unemployed wives of service personnel engaged, it is also believed that the profits the subscribers generate from participating in the BIIP's area of focus that interests them will augment family incomes and make families to be less dependent on just one party as the sole breadwinner in meeting their basic needs and obligations. The BIIP seeks to achieve its objectives by empowering women and youths in army cantonments and barracks in the country to undertake income-yielding ventures that will keep them engaged and in addition supplement the income of their families, especially their breadwinners who are still in service. This is more so as inflation, a global phenomenon, continues to bite harder in the country with attendant depletion of the disposable incomes of families amongst both military and civilian populations, particularly those that rely solely on the earnings of only one breadwinner to sustain them. Also, by keeping its target participants gainfully engaged, the BIIP aims at reducing the incidence of social vices and criminalities in the barracks.
We are 84 in number.
To achieve its core objectives, the BIIP encourages participants in each barracks and cantonment to operate ventures that are deemed suitable, viable, and sustainable within their peculiar environment. Agriculture and agro-allied ventures were made the primary focus of the program. This decision was based on the results of the feasibility studies conducted prior to the formal introduction of the program on the businesses that are viable and have good prospects for profitability when operated in an army barracks environment. These studies discovered that most army barracks and cantonments in the country sit on large swaths of virgin land mostly lying fallow, and which could otherwise be put to the operation of agro-allied ventures without altering or distorting the original master plans of the respective barracks. Consequently, and from the onset, the BIIP encouraged participants to venture into agriculture and agro-allied enterprises such as animal husbandry, poultry farming, fish farming, as well as the cultivation of vegetables, fruits, and crops. Locations outside those designated as residential quarters and recreational areas in cantonments and barracks were set aside for these enterprises, especially for animal husbandry and poultry farms, so that their conduct would not disturb other members of the barracks community. The BIIP also favors initiatives that promote the acquisition of vocational skills, especially in vocations where the startup funds required to set up businesses applying those skills are relatively affordable, so that participants vested with such vocational skills can easily start the businesses on their own after undergoing training. 1 year after it was formally launched, the producers of this video undertook a tour across the divisions of the Nigerian Army to assess how the BIIP has been faring. We begin the review of the implementation of the BIIP with initiatives in animal husbandry. This is a cattle ranch being operated under the BIIP at the Gibson Jallow Barracks, which hosts the headquarters of 23 Armored Brigade of the Nigerian Army in Yola, one of the formations under 3 Division of the Nigerian Army. When the producers of this video filmed at the ranch in November 2016, it had more than 160 heads of cattle owned by the dependents of both serving and retired personnel of the Nigerian Army, as well as some serving Army personnel too. Associates of the Nigerian Army in the civil society, especially those in communities contiguous to the Gibson Jallow Barracks, who showed interest in and were allowed to key into the implementation of the cattle ranching aspect of the BIIP to foster improved civil-military cooperation, are also among the owners of the cows. The ranch was established in December 2015. This is yet another cattle ranch being operated under the BIIP, this time at the Adekunle Fajuyi cantonment in the Ojo area of Ibadan, capital of Oyo State. Adekunle Fajuyi is one of the military cantonments under the area of responsibility of 2 Division of the Nigerian Army and hosts the headquarters of the division. At the time of the visit to the ranch, it had more than 120 cattle heads. These are some of the cattle heads at the Brigade Cattle Ranch of 9th Brigade Ikeja, being run at the Ojo cantonment, one of the cantonments under 81 Division of the Nigerian Army. It had more than 70 heads of cattle at the time of the visit to the ranch in November 2016. This cattle ranch at the Maimalari cantonment, Maiduguri, headquarters of 7th Division of the Nigerian Army, which had more than 130 cattle heads at the time of this visit, underscores the huge successes recorded in the implementation of the BIIP. Similar cattle ranches are being operated elsewhere under the BIIP. They include this one at Giri along the Abuja-Gwagwalada Highway, being run under the umbrella of Army Headquarters Garrison, Abuja. At Giri, the garrison put to use an expansive swath of land it owns to set up its ranch, which had close to 200 cattle heads in November 2016. Yet another BIIP cattle ranch is this one at Dalet Barracks in Kaduna, under 1 Division of the Nigerian Army. The Dalet Barracks Ranch is run as a Div Ranch by 515 Signal Regiment, Kaduna. Other notable cattle ranches being operated under the BIIP include, but are not limited to, the ones at Ribadu Cantonment, run by 2 Battalion of the Nigerian Army, another unit under 1 Division, the ranch at Janguza Barracks, Kano, operated by yet another unit under 1 Division, this time 73 Battalion, and the cantonment ranch at Ikeja Cantonment. The large numbers of the cattle in these ranches attest to the level of participation that the BIIP has enjoyed among its target participants in the area of animal husbandry. To attract the level of participation that led to the impressive numbers of cattle heads in the ranches operated under the BIIP, formations and units of the Nigerian Army were tasked to provide the land and logistics support required for successful cattle breeding. They also provide security. Participants who own them engage the herdsmen that graze the cattle and tend to them. For proper identification of who owns which cattle, the cattle heads bear plastic tags that carry the numbers allotted to their respective owners. The Chief of Army Staff's gesture of support in providing between 5 and 6 cows for setting up each of these cattle ranches was complemented by general officers commanding, brigade and garrison commanders, as well as commanding officers of battalions to encourage the target participants of the BIIP to key into its cattle ranch initiative. Today, hundreds of dependents of officers and soldiers living in cantonments and barracks across the various divisions of the Nigerian Army, as well as even serving officers and soldiers, have bought into the cattle ranch initiative by buying calves and adolescent cows, which they deliver to the ranches under the umbrella of their cooperative societies or even as individuals in order to participate in this aspect of the BIIP. When the ranches being operated under the BIIP were assessed recently, the cattle ranch at Adekunle Fajuri Cantonment came first. Brigadier General Usman Yusufu, Commander 2 Div Garrison, Ibadan, is the coordinator of the BIIP at the cantonment.
The owners of the animals are officers' wives, soldiers' wives, and some of their children who are old enough to go into businesses. Just like the Chief of Army Staff's directive, the whole initiative was to empower the families within the barrack so as to relieve the husbands of financial burden if the wives can take on some economic project. That is the whole project. So we have the wives, practically the owners of the animals. What we do in garrison is to provide a little bit of logistics in terms of getting veterinary doctors to look after the animals. We also liaise with the state NYSC, where we get some vet doctors and some coppers who did animal husbandry in various schools. They are attached to the ranch here, and we hope we're also giving them practical experience being on the ranch. We provide security 24 hours with arms.
The project encompasses the soldiers, the families, and civilians who are around here. With the 6 cows from the Chief of Army Staff, now the subscribers are now 32 mixed officers, soldiers, and civilians that are contiguous to us, because it's a means of building that friendship, improving our civil military cooperation. I've had others with the troops, and they have asked me to thank the Chief of Army Staff for this initiative, and they said that they pray that the thing continues, because part of the problem is continuity, and they are very hopeful and prayerful that the thing should continue even before, even at maybe for how long the Chief of Army Staff will be there, we don't know, but even when he leaves, they want the program to continue.
The commander, 9th Brigade Garrison, Ikeja, Lagos, then Lieutenant Colonel Garba Abubakar, now a colonel, is the chairman of the BIIP at the Nigerian Army Military Cantonment, Ikeja.
The owners contribute certain amount per head for the maintenance of the ranch as well as the livestock. This fund that always come is used to pay the shepherd that always come to carry them out for grazing.
Piggeries for breeding pigs, as well as pens and pastures for the rearing of goats, rams and sheep, are also part of striking legacies of the implementation of the BIIP in the area of animal husbandry. Today, piggeries like this one at Letmok Cantonment, Kmakola, Ibadan, home of 81 Battalion of the Nigerian Army, and goat pens like this one, which is being run by dependents of officers and soldiers resident at the Abakwa Barracks of 82 Division of the Nigerian Army in Enugu, are common sites in the cantonments and barracks of the Nigerian Army where the BIIP is being implemented. In some cantonments and barracks, the goats, rams and sheep are raised alongside cows, as in the case of these ones at the cattle ranch at Janguza Barracks, Kano, and at the Adekunle Fajui Cantonment, Ibadan. Halimat Sani, a soldier's wife resident at the Abakwa Barracks of the Nigerian Army in Enugu, is a BIIP participant at the barracks. Halimat is one of the 10 soldiers' wives who formed the cooperative that runs this goat pasture. She commends the BIIP and thanked the Chief of Army Staff, General Buratai, for introducing the program.
We are not paying for the land and we are not paying for the building as well. The place is moving at a stage, and the starting it was 19 goats, but now we have 30 goats. It's progressing. So, and many of them are pregnant. By the time by next year, maybe March, April, we have about maybe 30 something or 40 something of them, because all of them, most of them, you can see them, most of them are pregnant. So by doing this, we know that it's a source of fun for us. By the time we start selling it, we know we'll make money. We are saying thank you to him because he makes us happy and he makes us busy.
Shakirat Bello, a veterinary doctor performing her one-year National Youth Service Corps primary assignment with 82 Division of the Nigerian Army, is the coordinator of the animal husbandry aspect of the BIIP being implemented at the Abakwa Barracks in Enugu.
They are excited. They like what they do and they give it their best. It's actually a very good one because it keeps them busy, and again we're also contributing to the development of the society.
Poultry farming is another popular agro-based initiative under the BIIP. Indeed, a large number of participants have keyed into poultry farming in several barracks under the implementation of the BIIP, raising different species of birds, including turkeys.
Ever want to do, and I decided to be
Aulat Abdul Ganiyu is a resident of Letmok Barracks, Mokola, Ibadan. Aulat, whose husband is a soldier with 81 Battalion Nigerian Army with his headquarters at Letmok Barracks, runs this poultry at the barracks under the auspices of the BIIP.
Land was given to us free of charge. We were not paid. We didn't pay anything, not a penny on it. It was given free of charge. And I decided to be rearing broilers here. As you are seeing them, I have like 400 broilers. I collected them at dayhood. They are 4 weeks today. And by the grace of God, by December, they should be ready for consumption. I'm so happy. It's a good initiative. As you can see, it won't allow the soldiers' wives, some of them, they don't do anything. Just very few of us had the opportunity to work in 1 or 2 places. Majority, let me say 50% of them, they don't do anything. But with this will engage us with doing 1 or 2 things to support our family. And it's a nice one. Really appreciate him for that.
As well, and we are busy.
Ladi Emmanuel is president of No Food for Lazy Women, one of the 19 cooperative societies being operated at the Malari Cantonment, Maiduguri, under the implementation of the BIIP. Ladi's aptly named cooperative group runs a poultry at the cantonment.
We do poultry. It helps us a lot because it makes us to be busy. It makes us to at least keep away from such kind of some attitude as well that we have been doing.
We are saying thank you because there is so many of us, we are just idle at home doing nothing. And ever since he bring this initiative out, we are not sleeping. Like me now, I prefer to not, day and night I'm here, morning, afternoon I'm here. So time to gossip, or time to go here and sit and you will say, I have bed here. We'll come here to come and say our bed for morning, we'll see in the evening. So busy, we are busy now. We are happy.
My husband is warrant officer in Nigerian Army, but he's in the Maiduguri. But because of I don't want to stay idleness as a soldier's wife. That's why I used to be doing like this poultry farmer.
Fish farming is also a favorite of BIIP participants. At the Adekunle Fajui cantonment in Ibadan, Alamala Barracks, Abeokuta, Janguza Barracks, Kano, and Memalari cantonment, Maiduguri, several earth ponds dug for breeding fish under the BIIP were observed in active state. Surface ponds where the fish are bred at infancy were also active. Some of the earth ponds cited contain as many as 2,000 pieces of catfish. Farming is perhaps one of the oldest vocations in traditional African societies. It dates back to the period when the family unit craved self-sufficiency in food production and also sought to generate sustenance incomes from farm produce by cultivating its own farm where different types of food and cash crops are raised. It is little wonder then that vegetable, fruit and food crop farming has been widely embraced by the target participants of the BIIP. This farm at the Ikeja military cantonment of the Nigerian Army bears eloquent testimony to the resolve of the barracks community to key into the vegetable and crop farming aspect of the BIIP. These women, who are BIIP participants, here cultivate different types of vegetable plants on their farmland at the cantonment. The farmland was provided to participants free of charge by 9th Brigade of the Nigerian Army, which has its headquarters at the cantonment. Wives of officers and soldiers resident in the cantonment who subscribed to this aspect of the BIIP organized themselves into cooperatives, which then divided the farmlands into beds among themselves. Each group or individual farmers in a group cultivate preferred vegetables and crops on the beds assigned to their respective cooperatives in the farmland.
We moved here around, that was early this year, that is February, and we found ugu. We used to call it ugu leaf, that is pumpkin leaf.
That's what you do mostly?
Mostly. And vegetable, that is aleho from Hausa. We do yakwa, that is Hausa soup, and ewedu, that is Yoruba soup. All we join together. And not longer adult at home.
Ribadu Cantonment, Kaduna, is another residential domain for officers and soldiers of the Nigerian Army, where the wives of the service personnel have enthusiastically embraced the farming of vegetables, crops and fruits under the implementation of the BIIP. This is one of the farmlands inside the barracks where beds of different types of vegetables and crops are being cultivated by dependents of service personnel under their different cooperative associations.
We use all types of farming: rainy season, water leaf, bitter leaf, soya beans and other things. It helped me a lot because I used to assist my family.
We have vegetable farms where most of the barrack women, majority of whom are soldiers' wives and even their daughters, are involved in this vegetable farming, especially water leaf, yes, and tomatoes.
The success story that the implementation of the BIIP has become is also clearly evident in the area of vocational skills training. To date, hundreds of hitherto jobless and idle members of the community in different army barracks have been taught new skills under the vocational skills acquisition training aspect of the BIIP and have become proficient in vocations with which they can earn a living. This exhibition, declared open at Ohafia Barracks of 14th Brigade of the Nigerian Army by Chief of Army Staff General Buratai, further attests to the impressive strides made in the area of vocational skills acquisition under the implementation of the BIIP. On display are items produced by wives and wards of officers and soldiers resident in the barracks after they had participated in vocational skills acquisition programs organized by the Mrs. Kalsum Tukur Buratai-led Nigerian Army Officers' Wives Association, NAOA, in support of the BIIP. Here at Alamala Barracks, which is under the area of responsibility of 81 Division of the Nigerian Army, these women and ladies who are wives and daughters of soldiers resident in the barracks, but whose breadwinners have been deployed to the northeast in the fight against the Boko Haram insurgency, display the dyed fabrics and beads they were taught to make at this vocational skills acquisition center at the barracks under the implementation of the BIIP. The center, a joint initiative of the United Nations Development Programme (UNDP) and the Ogun State government to promote empowerment at Alamala Barracks, had been lying fallow for close to 12 years. It was however revived by the Chief of Army Staff, General Buratai, and has been offering vocational skills acquisition training programs for BIIP target participants resident in the barracks.
The revival of this place has actually impacted the lives of the occupants of this barrack, in the sense that many of them have actually gotten one skill or the other, which they are now practicing. Because many of them here, the husbands are possibly in the northeast, and some of them are no longer around, but then they need something to survive. With these skills, many of them now have something to fall back on, which to feed their children and to really survive. Just ending of October, we passed out close to 50 barrack women and occupants who benefited from vocational skills. As I'm talking, some of them have really established on their own. They are making those things and they are selling. The initiative of the Chief of Army Staff has really empowered them. Some of them are now gainfully employed and they no longer depend on their spouses for the living.
We have different departments in that place that we learn different skills. We learn bead making, as you can see, Kampala making and other things like pens, analog and ties. So I'm in the department of beads, while my colleagues here that are standing with the Kampala, they are in the department of Kampala making. So we are here in our practical because we started this program since 3 months ago. So we are rounding off December, first day of December. So that is why we are making our practical here all together today.
Mary Sunday is a daughter of a soldier. After bagging an ordinary national diploma (OND) from the Rufus Giwa Polytechnic in Akungba, Ondo State, Mary tried to no avail to get a job. She subsequently enrolled on the Vocational Skills Acquisition Training Program offered under the platform of the BIIP at the Alamala Barracks, where she undertook a short course, at the end of which she was awarded a certificate of participation.
I've really gained a lot. Before this time around, I've learned my fashion and designing, but based on female clothes. But as it is now, I've learned from this skill acquisition center. I learned from the male side. As it is, I can sew male clothes. With the certificate, I intend to establish myself, to open up a business. If not now, but later, as time permits, in the future, like where I can be able to reside in the next future, I can use it to help myself and my family.
Here too are some wives and daughters of soldiers of the Nigerian Army resident in Bukavu Barracks, Kano, displaying their certificates of participation and the beads they made when they participated in a vocational skills training program in Kano under the umbrella of the BIIP.
I want to tell them thank you very much for this great opportunity for them to assist us in learning such a great thing. Idleness is very bad, so this will help women to keep them busy, help them to make money and sustain their family. So I thank them for all this help.
I intend using it as my own business to be taking care of my family.
To strengthen the vocational skills training aspect of the BIIP at Bukavu Barracks, target participants are now being encouraged to first undergo an entrepreneurship sensitization course to acquaint them with the various vocations they can enroll for and the special skills they could desire to empower themselves in line with BIIP objectives. When the producers of this video visited the barracks in November 2016, an entrepreneurship training program was being conducted for the dependents of officers and soldiers resident in some of the army barracks in Kano. The course was organized by the headquarters of 3 Brigade Nigerian Army located at Bukavu Barracks in conjunction with a non-governmental organization NGO, the Central Bank of Nigeria CBN, and the Barracks Youth Foundation Bukavu Barracks. It was conducted to draw barracks youths into the BIIP through its vocational skills acquisition platform and guide them in making the right choices amongst the various vocational skills they could train for. At the end of the course, which was conducted at no cost to them, successful participants will be attached to accredited vocational skills providers in Kano for a 2-year apprenticeship period to learn their preferred vocations. And the apprenticeship training too will be at no cost to any participants. The involvement of an NGO and the CBN in conducting the course was to facilitate access to start-up funds for successful participants on the completion of their vocational skills training.
What we've been telling the youths is that if they are waiting for white-collar jobs in the present day Nigeria, well, it's not that it's not there, but how many people will get it? So it's better for them to have a skill that they can sell to make money. And I strongly believe that with what we are doing in conjunction with other NGOs that we've already contacted, it's going to be of a tremendous benefit for the youths and for the entire barrack community. The response has been very, very encouraging. We have over 385 youths that have already declared their interest to be part of this program.
Some participants drawn from Army Barracks community in Kano spoke on their impression of their entrepreneurship training program.
The main reason why we are here is that they want to change our mindset, how we are going to be thinking, not that we just stay in the barracks without us doing anything. I want to learn how to sew clothes and the rest. So I have the skills of drawing. So my thinking is that the way some other people are sewing, I want it to be different from mine. I want it, when I draw, I can draw whatever I want to do and I will sew it for myself. After I've sewn it to myself, if I wear it, I can move around, I can go anywhere I want. When people see it, they can patronize it that, wow, this cloth is very good. Where did you get it from? I will say, I'm the one who sew it myself. Okay, please, can you do this for me? So from there, I'll be taking the mind of the youth and other people. So as for them, people will know me. And from there, by the grace of God, I'm going to be elevated by the grace of God.
When we came and they told us about this entrepreneur program, I was so overwhelmed because if you look at our country today, there is no job. And then this program is to empower us, the youth, because we can't, okay, in a year, so many students graduate in the university, polytechnic, colleges, but then if you look at the rate of employment, there is no employment. So we, the youth, we can't keep depending on the government for work. And that is why this program is being organized to empower us. After this program, I'm planning to open my catering center, a place whereby I can be baking cakes, donuts, egg roll, meat pie, and so on.
These women, who are members of the Progress Group Cooperative Society at Memalari Cantonment, Maiduguri, participated in a cosmetology course organized by the National Secretariat of the Nigerian Army Officers' Wives Association, NAOA. The course was conducted by NAOA to boost interest in the BIIP. The group members displayed some of the products they learned to make and which they have now been producing on commercial basis to augment the income of their husbands and support their respective families.
We are not doing anything before they come and introduce us and teach us into this thing. We are doing nothing at home. Most of the things that will be needed at home, no money to do it, but with the help of this thing now, we are okay now.
We are very grateful. At least we learned something that we used to help ourselves. It's true. We are not happy with staying idle. It's not good, but we can't just help it. But we are very grateful now that someone has stood up to help us at least, and I have something to show up, and I have something that will help me to stand on my feet.
Truly, I must say it's really helping us. It has empowered us a lot in terms of little amounts we need. Now that we learned something, we have something to do. Out of the little amounts we make, no matter how little it is, we can be able to assist our husbands and our families, sometimes even to come to the aid and the needs of our little children, and not all the time running to our husbands and depending on them. So we are actually grateful.
Beyond its robust legacies in the agro-allied based areas of its primary focus and vocational training, the BIIP has also been making strong impact in the lives of members of the barracks community, especially the wards and dependents of officers and soldiers, by assisting them to establish small businesses in other areas. A key example of one of the initiatives promoted under the umbrella of the BIIP to empower members of the barrack community is the tricycle transportation run within the Maimalari cantonment in Maiduguri. Popularly known as Keke Napep transportation, the General Officer Commanding GOC 7th Division of the Nigerian Army assisted youths who expressed interest in the initiative by providing them with 10 refurbished tricycles on a soft loan arrangement to run its intra-cantonment transport service at Maimalari cantonment.
Since when they give me this Keke Napep, I've been helping myself with this Keke Napep. Before, I don't have anything to do. We walk around, look for something to do, but we are very happy. The Chief of the Army Staff, he assists us by giving us this Keke Napep. In a day I work, maybe I get 4,000, 5,000. We also have contribution that we are doing every day, 1,000. So that is what we are doing here. At least even the women, our mothers inside the barrack, they are very happy with this because we help ourselves with this. Even my younger ones, I help them. At least if he doesn't have anything to do, if he came to me and asked me, I will give him something from this, which I get from this Keke Napep. As you can see, we are very happy with this Keke Napep. This man has really tried for us. He has really tried for us. The Chief of the Army Staff and the GOC. At least we are very grateful.
Two other interlinked enablers for the empowerment of the barracks community at Maimalari cantonment are the BIIP Abattoir project and its meat shop at the cantonment. The initiatives were introduced as part of the meat chain to complement the big cattle ranch of the BIIP at the cantonment, with the cattle heads providing feedstock for the abattoir and meat shop. The two ventures have helped in generating employment and income for barracks youths at the Maimalari cantonment. The impact of the abattoir and meat shop on the empowerment of the Maimalari cantonment community is further underscored by the availability and access to meat at cheaper prices at the meat shop, which has offered people the opportunity to save on their expenses of meat purchases, thus further boosting the financial standing of families in the barracks. Some of the women who had abandoned the food and pepper soup business they were operating at the Maimalari cantonment because of the dangers of going to town to buy meat have also been reviving the businesses and creating employment too, as they now get to buy meat without going out of the cantonment.
I think it has been a boost to the life in the barracks because about 8 or 9 months ago, a lot of women were not doing anything. Some youths were just parabolating, including ladies and young boys. But today, if you walk around the market, you see some of them are getting fully employed by those who came back to open the shops in the Mami market.
Now, with the establishment of abattoir, everybody feel at home, everybody feel relaxed, coming here to buy meat without rank and acrimony.
The meat I bought here make me spend less and make me save more money.
To further strengthen the BIIP in the realization of its core objectives, the Chief of Army Staff has leveraged on some ventures of the Nigerian Army which have immense employment generation potentials to create jobs for wives and children of officers and soldiers who are employable but remain unemployed. One of the channels used to achieve this objective is the Nigerian Army Ordnance Tailoring Factory, a unit under the Nigerian Army Ordnance Corps. The factory, which is run at the headquarters of all the divisions of the Nigerian Army, sells 6 out of the 7 official uniforms of the Nigerian Army. Its national headquarters at Yaba in Lagos has more than 200 different types of industrial sewing machines and engages about 300 tailors who turn out about 500 pairs of different army uniforms each working day. The target participants of the BIIP who work at the tailoring factory outlets were encouraged with loans to acquire sewing machines of their own which they use to generate additional income for themselves in their spare time when not at work at the outlets of the tailoring factory.
The initiative was meant to alleviate the sufferings of most of our widows in the barracks, and that has effectively been captured here because most of the civilians, 70% of the people we are working with here are civilians. And these civilians are not just picked up from out the street there, they are civilians from the barracks. Majority of them are widows, majority of them are either widows, our soldiers' wards or relations that are here. So those of them that benefited from this BIIP, because of this project that is going on here, have utilized the money to purchase additional personal machines. And this sewing machine they purchase for themselves, they are using it to do additional work at home. And that has increased their income. They increased substantially their income. So many of them are happy.
Chief of Army Staff gave us some loan, which they use in purchasing the machine for us. And that machine has been for help, which we are using at home while also working in the factory.
The money that they gave to me, I also put a small money on it. I buy a sewing machine, which I sew at home. After I finish from the office here, I collect customers' work, I sew at home, and it helped me a lot with my children.
After working here, we go back home in the evening time on our own. Then we get some money from there. They have been really helping us. We have gained a lot from here.
Like every novel idea, especially one in its nascent period of implementation, the BIIP has its challenges. Expectedly, the most critical is funding. With the increasing number of interested participants, the cooperative societies set up to assist participants with funding have been contending with intense pressure to meet the expectations of members of Army Barracks communities seeking financial support to participate actively in the program. Yet another problem is providing regular water supply to the heads of cattle being raised in the ranches of the BIIP. Initiatives that need regular supply of electricity to operate optimally are also being impacted adversely by the energy crisis being experienced in the country. But as an institution which core tasking is to confront and overcome challenges, the Nigerian Army is not relenting in its efforts to tackle and overcome these problems. In all, the Chief of Army Staff Barracks Investment Initiative Program has done remarkably well in realizing its key objectives. 1 year into its implementation, the malaria of rampant idleness and the concomitant rising wave of criminalities have been largely ameliorated in the barracks of the Nigerian Army, where the program has gained firm footing. Barrack youths and other dependents of serving officers and soldiers of the Nigerian Army have also been better empowered through the creation of more job opportunities through the BIIP. As a result, many members of Army Barracks communities nationwide are generally happier for its positive impact on their lives.
It has really impacted, and I think with time, in the next 5 years, you'll be surprised of what will be coming out of the barracks.
We're trying to improve on what we have now to make it something that is bigger, and then the next phase is to get to expand it such that we could get dairy products from it. We could establish an abattoir where meat could be sold. So by and large, is impacting on the target audience.
Then Brigadier General Chukwunedum Abraham, and also previously Acting General Officer Commanding GOC 2 Division, Nigerian Army, when this interview was recorded, is now a Major General and substantive GOC of the division.
It has helped in increasing the revenue of the barrack community, in the sense that some, when maybe they are broke, they can sell, and then it has also helped to sort of assist a lot of them. Also, we have also used that opportunity to also employ some hands to also look after the animals and our fish pond. So on the whole, it has been a success here.
There's a very huge prospect in regards to this Barracks Investment Initiative program. If it is well handled and well standardized, it's going to really help both the formation and various units.
It has gainfully employed hundreds of soldiers' wives, soldiers' children, and their dependents. That alone is a sign of success. Secondly, it has enhanced the income of soldiers' family. It has gainfully employed delinquent youths who would ordinarily have resorted to crime or being idle without doing anything, are now gainfully employed. For the past 1 year that this initiative has been on, the crime rate in the barrack has drastically reduced, and there is so much enthusiasm on the part of soldiers' wives and their families to see to the success of this project, because it is directly impacting positively on their lives.
It's a success story, and we have not had any challenge as per discharging of the end product. I think it's one of the best initiatives that the Chief of Army Staff have introduced, and it's working. It has improved the morale of the troops, and it has reduced some normal security concerns in the barrack that we normally have, because everybody is engaged.
It has been able to identify with the masses.
When the producers of this video interfaced with them, BIIP subscribers expressed deep appreciation to the High Command of the Nigerian Army, particularly the Chief of Army Staff, General Buratai, for introducing the scheme. We end this video documentary with the comments of some of these subscribers.
I thank the Chief of Army Staff, come down to GOC, come down to my commander here in Ikeja Cantonment, all my RSNs. I thank them for good work.
It's succeeding because of we know what we are getting at. Like now, we put bed, after 2 months we'll sell it. And like now, I want to go and pay for bed now. And if I pay for that bed, by now to January, I will sell it. And when we sell it, we'll share the money and we'll get profit inside. Since we are gaining, we are all happy.
So far, so good. It has been a very lovely program, and people are very happy and satisfied.
I want to tell them thank you very much for this great opportunity.
I said a very big thank you to the whole Nigerian Army.
Yes, I'm grateful to the Nigerian Army for giving me this opportunity and providing this platform for someone like me to work with cattle. It's been wonderful because this is the first time actually I'm working with cattle. So it's been good because there are a lot of things we were taught in school about some diseases and all that I've got to handle on my own, without supervision. It's been great. Yeah.